Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we will eventually get to the bulk of our program for the day, which will be the NFL quarterback preview. We're continuing our four-part series with our third part today, the quarterbacks of the NFC and AFC North divisions. We will also talk a little bit more about the Chiefs preseason. But we will begin today with the Kansas City Royals and their now winning ways, Mike. They've gone from when last we talked, a 0% playoff chance to now a non-zero playoff chance after having won 9 straight games, 10 of their last 11. Are you hopeful now, or are you still like, whatever, it doesn't matter. The season's over.
I still think the season's basically over, but it's
Yeah.
fun to watch at least a little bit now that they've shown some signs of life. Now they're 50 as we record this, they are now 59 and 74, so only 15 games under 500. If they have 29 games to go, so if they win their last 29 games, they'll be 88 and 74, and that will probably guarantee a playoff spot. But they
Yeah.
probably get close because it seems like the way the teams are playing right now, probably maybe 500 might even get the third playoff spot. So if the Royals can win 81 games, they can basically they go 22 and 7 over their next 29. And
Yeah,
then
probably like 83 is probably more like the target. And that's assuming that no one else does very well, right? Something like that.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see but
Maybe they can luck into a scenario where 81 might do it, but that seems unlikely if that too, doesn't it?
yeah, right now 500 would put you in that spot though. So if everybody plays as well as they have been playing.
Yeah, because the current holder of the third spot is it's exactly 500, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
Cleveland, yeah,
Cleveland
66
is
and
in.
66. And
They they were trailing in their game tonight. They're just getting started as we're recording this on Tuesday
yeah,
night.
and Houston is at 65 and 66, and they are winning against the Yankees in the bottom of the ninth right now. And so they would move to 500 if they win
Yeah.
tonight. So
Working against the Royals is Cleveland currently on a 5 game winning streak, which doesn't help,
no,
you know, create any separation for them or for the Royals, I guess. Whichever perspective you're looking at this from, but it's at least made this a little bit more interesting for the end of the season.
yeah,
It's
yeah, it's made things a little more exciting and interesting. You have the Royals at least, yeah, in they're the hottest team in baseball right now. Uh, and yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. is starting to play well. He didn't really have much of a night tonight, but uh, there's a little bit of concern with Caglianone being injured often on the last few games with his ankle.
Mhm.
But Caglianone's been playing really well in the month of August as well. So now Pasquantino's been back in the lineup. Uh, Michael Garcia is out again, which is a bit of a concern, but the Royals seem to have enough outfield and infield depth to cover right now. Uh,
Mhm.
John Reeve has played fairly well in his appearances. Tolbert, we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Nick Lofton has played a little better and
Yeah,
having more regular reps too.
as has Massey until he got hurt, maybe tonight as well.
Yeah, I'll have to see what the extent of his injury is. He did leave today's game, I think after defensive play, I believe. But
Yeah. So yeah, the
yeah, I
Royals
think
are
it's
at 0.1% odds of making the playoffs. So that's
non-zero, Mike. That's a
not
non-zero
zero.
number.
Say 1 in 1,000 chance.
Yes, they do have the 7 teams that they have to jump, or 8 teams that they need to jump over
Yeah.
to get to that final playoff spot. Because there are, yeah, the Yankees and Red Sox are in the first 2 wildcard spots, and they're +9 and +7 games over that spot. So there are, yes, like 8, 9 teams competing for that final playoff spot. So it could be pretty intense here. There are a lot of teams vying for one spot. But there's a lot of mediocre teams though too. So there's somebody's got to win it, right?
Yeah, I guess the idea is that you want all the teams that are currently in the playoffs to stay hot and cement their positions, and then have the third
And
wild card spot stay low because
yeah,
those five teams are winning. So you want the Yankees and the Red Sox to keep winning as much as possible. You want the Rays to keep winning as much as possible. You want, I guess,
especially against the teams that are in that pack.
yeah,
Yes.
and you want the White Sox to keep winning as much as possible, and one of the, I guess, one of the teams in the AL West to keep winning, and the other teams to kind of fall behind as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's rooting for several teams to just obliterate the teams that the Royals are competing against, to help
Yes.
them out, and also keeping the Royals winning their, basically they have to win 80, probably 80% of their games on the of their last 30 to have
Plus.
any chance.
Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, teams have been that hot this season. We've joked about, the Red Sox having 15 game winning streak, putting them into playoff contention, and that
Hmm.
was their 15 game winning streak was to basically get them back to 500, and now they're 14 games over 500. So
Hmm.
though things do happen, I don't expect them to happen to the Royals, though. Even though they've been playing better, I still don't expect it,
Hmm.
and I'm guessing neither do you.
Not really, no. It would take a miracle, I think, but it's anything's possible. Right now, it's a 1 in 1,000 chance. I don't think anybody would make a bet on a 1 in 1,000 chance, but I would say maybe
Not a
they're
big
doing.
bet anyway. A big bet,
Yeah,
a couple of
yeah,
bucks maybe.
yeah,
Might be good. Would be a good payoff if it hits.
yeah. Bet $10 on the Royals make the playoffs right now.
Yeah, why not? Are you running to your sports book to make that bet, Mike?
Right now, they're plus 5,000 to make the playoffs. So that's given almost that's better than 1 in 1,000, isn't it? Isn't it? Uh, it says implied probability of 1.9%,
Yeah. So
96%.
the odds have already been juiced for people like expecting that small chance to pay off, I guess, right?
It's plus 30. They're plus 30,000 to win the division right now.
Yeah. Well, they are listed at 0% to win the division in on Fangraphs, and I think anybody else that makes those predictions.
Hmm.
It's a 0.1% chance at a wild card spot. I mean, I,
Yeah.
I would think that the odds of the division aren't that much terribly worse if the White Sox have a terrible finish to the season, because they're only a few games over 500. It's not like they're 10 over or something. I think they're only yeah they're 5 over. But if they just play 500 ball, it's very difficult for the Royals to catch 5 over
Yeah, you don't want
500.
that. You want the White Sox to keep winning and win a lot because they probably beat up on the division opponents.
Yeah.
So they'd probably play against Cleveland
Yes.
a bit, play more against Minnesota, play more against the Tigers. We need those teams to lose. And so if Cleveland runs away with the Central and wins 90 games. I don't think they can win 90 games, but if they win 80, some 85, 88 games, something like that, uh,
Yeah.
that that would be better. 88 games would be better. Right now I think they're on the pace to win about 85, 86.
Remember the White
Mhm.
Sox?
Yeah, the White Sox probably 85
80,
games.
84.
84. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, the only other way that you can get away with it though is like if the White Sox completely collapse and Cleveland runs away with it. But you still want
You want a team.
whichever team to run away with it to run away with it, and
Yeah.
then the other one to like fall apart.
Hmm.
Not just lose a couple of games or play roughly 500 ball, like to lose a lot
Yeah.
of games. Yeah. The other teams like around, below the leader anyway, they can play sort of middling 500-ish, maybe a little under 500 be the preference. As long because, we know that the Royals are going to need to win close to 25 out of 30 games, right? 24 out of 29 games, something like that.
Hmm.
Now they've played one more, but yeah, it's going to take a lot, and it's unlikely, but it still makes it more fun to follow the next couple of weeks of the season rather than just have it be completely lost, though.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Makes yeah. So we have the Royals to keep an eye on now, for at least for a little bit. We're keeping an eye on our eye on the Chiefs, of course. They played their second preseason game. They lost their second preseason game by 1 point only to uh, Tampa Tampa Bay in Tampa.
Yeah,
It was a 17-16, I think was the final. Uh,
16-15. Yeah,
something
like minor
I was thinking 17-16. I don't know why, but you might be right. 16-15.
16-15. Yeah,
Yeah, because I guess the Chiefs missed an extra point. So Harrison Butker is maybe the story of the game, kicking a 69-yard field goal to end the first half, which would have been an NFL record had it happened in the regular season. But then he also missed a field goal and missed an extra point that was pushed back because of a holding penalty. But he missed two kicks, so he's kind of following through with his inconsistent, but also sometimes spectacular play from the kicking.
yeah.
I know you are an outspoken critic of Butker. Basically, the Chiefs spend a lot of money on a kicker. Maybe they do just as well with a, a cheaper kicker. Maybe one also maybe a little less outspoken than that you would prefer. But they, they
Yeah.
they pay. They're paying. I guess they're paying more than most teams are paying for their kickers, and they're not getting Brandon Aubrey levels of kicking out of him.
My, I mean, my argument, at least in the preseason, is we know he can make field goals. Like, why even like bother spending this much time practicing field goals? Like, you don't need field goals. Like, you need this. I'd rather them see, that they can convert a fourth down play, short, medium, or long. It doesn't matter. Like, let's see that. We know we can kick field goals.
Well, I think they will
What's the
also
need
want.
to continuously practice this like
Well,
in the game scenario? Who cares? Like nobody wants to see this.
well, there are 10 other people on the field for the Chiefs during these special teams snaps, and I think they want as many special teams snaps as possible in uh, the preseason. So because they're evaluating middle to lower end of the roster players. So they want to see who can block on a field goal kick on a field goal, who can return a punt, uh,
Yeah.
who can do these things. And so I think that's why they give Butker that extra work. But yeah, it's you don't want. I guess maybe the also Chiefs don't want to show potential fourth down plays. They don't want to show potential 2 point conversions. They don't want to show
That's probably more of it
anything
than anything else.
interesting either that they might run. So even though they might feel like those drills are important to those types of plays are important, they don't want to run those in the preseason to have other teams see them either. So I think there's a couple of reasons they play so much. There's so much Butker in the preseason. Uh, he's been kicking a lot, and the unders have been coming through quite a bit. Not as much, maybe not 100% of the time for sure, but they've. I think this game finished under partly because of the Butker misses. I don't remember what it was. Only 31 total points, so I think it was probably 35 was the over under or something like that going in.
37 and a half.
37. It was high. Okay,
So even if Bucker had made all of his kicks, it still would have been under.
4 points
There was
up.
still a little room. But not if they would have made them, there would have been less room for anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think to look at the other games for.
There were some high scorings in this one, so
Yeah,
it might have been more overs than unders. But
like Baltimore, Minnesota was only 16 points. Yeah, so there were some pretty low scoring games. Rams Saints 38 and a half, Mike. Final score is 34 nothing.
oh, under.
One team scores 34 points. You wouldn't expect to have the under, right? The other team can shoot to nothing, then it's great for
Yeah,
the under better.
yeah, it was a yeah. We'll see. Yeah, I didn't follow the because like I said, we talked about this before. Usually they set the unders lower during the preseason than they do during the regular season because I guess it's lower quality players playing for much of the game, and
Yeah,
defenses seem to have the advantage over offenses. Also, offenses don't want to show what they have to other teams either, so they don't want to run maybe their best plays. They
yeah.
want to run a vanilla scheme just to, as they call it, to s- keep their better plays closer to the vest. But yeah, well, it seems like Mahomes, he was also not, he didn't play at all. This game. I don't know if he'll play at all next game or not. Probably not. But he
Unlikely.
was
Yeah.
running around on the sideline pretty uh, agilely. That's a word.
Yes.
In an agile manner.
Yes. With some
So,
agility.
with agility, celebrating Butker's field goal at one point, and then also picking up a loose ball and running for it. I saw at one point. Uh,
It's a good sign.
yeah. So he seems to be feeling well. I think he's made comments that he's ready to start week one if necessary, which is
Yes.
good. The Chiefs do have some other injury concerns on the offensive line, so they ended up picking up a new lineman from the New York Giants. They traded a seventh round draft pick in 2028 to pick up Joshua Ezeudu or Zudu
Zudu. Yeah.
as I think it's pronounced, but I'm not sure. You wonder, yeah, sometimes, yeah, how it really is pronounced. But yeah, I haven't I just heard his name called before. But he was a former third round uh, draft pick by the Giants at one point. He plays guard, so I think the Chiefs were a little worried about about line depth because Trey Smith has been injured a bit in camp, and
Hmm.
they have in behind him they don't maybe have the depth that they would like, so they're trying to bolster the line just a little bit. Maybe it's a good move. We'll see. It's only a seventh round draft pick in 2 years, so
Yeah. You're giving up almost nothing to get some security at a position that you don't want to, be too thin at because that they've had firsthand experience with offensive line depth problems in the past. So
yeah, I guess they were thinking, well, as Zudu might be a cut, but then they might not be able to pick him up on the waiver wire at the end. So this is a guarantee that you'll pick up
yeah,
that guy if he gets cut by the Giants. Maybe the Chiefs were talking a little bit with Matt Nagy, the new offensive coordinator of the Giants, and that was the reason they did the deal.
possibly.
But yeah, so you want to talk instead of talking guards, you want to talk quarterbacks now? You want to switch over to the
Um, it, it,
quarterback maybe? Or do you
any
want
any any players that stood out to you from this last game? Then did you anything say interesting to you there, or was it
not
like
really.
a couple? There were a
Nussmeyer
few
did
plays
okay,
like
I think.
yeah, okay, right, yeah,
Yeah. Emmett Johnson looked fairly good at points. I think Jalen Royals caught some
Jalen
passes.
Royals, they caught all the passes that were thrown in his direction.
But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot, I don't think,
Uh,
to me. The defense, it's hard to say. I guess Anudike Uzama is still looking good on defense, maybe, which is a sign of uh, something
Maybe
good.
there's still some value there
Yeah,
from
former
a
first
draft
round
pick a couple
pick.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, has been injured or just ineffective most of his career. Maybe he'll, maybe it's a little bit like maybe what D Ford was like in his early years, and then he had a couple of good seasons later for the Chiefs, despite his infamous offsides that cost the Chiefs an AFC Championship game in 2018. But
Yeah.
he had a couple of good seasons later for the Chiefs during he was a first round draft pick, but did not really live up to it until uh, late. So maybe you can say the same thing for FAU as they call them,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they abbreviate. I don't know if they call them that or not, but
Maybe they
Anudike
do now.
Uzama. Yeah. Any other standouts for you?
But I think that other tight end that they picked up last year that I don't think played at all. They pronounced his name a little differently than I expected. Grinning stool.
Oh, we thought you thought it might be Brining Stool. That's what I
I thought it
was
would be brining stool, yeah, but no, it's
Brining
grinning stool
Stool.
apparently. Yes,
Yeah, he's
I think he looked pretty decent in his play anyway. So,
yeah.
but because yeah, I think he didn't he miss like the entire season last year. Was he? Did he get injured in like the preseason?
Yeah, he
Something like that?
was injured I think in the preseason. He was gonna maybe former Clemson tight end, but yeah, it's he never I guess took off. He never played for the Chiefs. I think he was injured in the preseason.
I think he was out for like the whole year, like really before it even
Hmm.
like I don't think he. I'm not sure he even did anything in the preseason. Like he might have been injured in camp or something even.
Yeah.
Man, but it looked like he was getting some decent play, and
Hmm.
be nice to have more depth at tight end. It sounds like they're maybe stretching on their where they're gonna take their extra spots in the roster. Like, are they going to keep an extra wide receiver, an extra tight end, or can't probably keep one of extra of each?
Yeah, and it's also you wonder
Considering,
do they keep
yeah,
Nico Remigio as the punt returner because he doesn't seem to be doing much on offense. So they
yeah,
keep him. They'll probably keep an extra wide receiver. What do they do with the tight end? There's not much. There's not much behind Kelsey at least at this point. It doesn't seem like so. Yeah,
yeah,
hard to say if they keep four tight ends or keep seven wide receivers, or do they keep
yeah,
three running backs, four running backs? It's hard to. Do they keep Rashard Smith? He's kind of a wild card as well. So
yeah.
the bottom of the roster is kind of interesting to see what they'll do.
We do tend to have these discussions like going into the last week of training camp, so maybe we'll be able to revisit that before the preseason's over then too.
Yeah, yeah. One more
Good.
preseason game, then cut downs, and then regular season starts in very soon. So we'll have to have those previews come along pretty quickly.
Yeah, like next week basically, right?
Yeah, we'll have our fourth quarterback preview, and then we can have one more uh, total preview of wins and losses and
Yes.
week one preview and things like that. Over under picks.
Yes.
We'll have to do that.
Yeah.
That's a lot more work we got to do after Scav before
Yes.
season starts.
Before the season even gets going. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
You want to segue into our quarterback preview?
Let's do it.
We've done the NFC and AFC Wests. We've done the NFC and AFC Souths. Now we're ready for the NFC and AFC North divisions. We'll start with the NFC, moving west to east as is our custom. So the westernmost NFC North team is the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings right now have announced their starting quarterback, who was not on the team last year. He former Arizona Cardinals starter, one of the so-called pocket passers, as we've dubbed these short quarterbacks in the NFL. Kyler
Yes.
Murray, former number one overall pick out of Oklahoma, former Heisman Trophy winner, 2019 first round number one overall pick. He played for 7 seasons for the Cardinals, from 2019 to 2025. He had some promising years, some not so great years. He was injured a lot of the time. So it's hard to see what he maybe how good he really is. He uh, never, he was a running quarterback as well. For a bit, he started running less and less as time went on for his career in Arizona. Maybe that was a scheme thing. Maybe it was also because he was getting injured a lot. But he is right now the starting quarterback in Minnesota. In Minnesota, maybe a place to revive quarterbacks' careers because it was someplace where it was, Sam Darnold revitalized his career. Maybe Kyler Murray can do the same in Minnesota. But yeah, he's going to be the starter. He has, a 38 and 48 and 1 record as a starter, so not so great. He only started 5 games last year, so he was injured most of the season for the Cardinals. So hard to say what I guess what will happen with him, but he's been injury prone, I guess you could say. So that's not good, especially maybe on the turf field in Minnesota. But he's won the starting job in camp, and he seems to be the starter going forward. I don't know. What do you have to say about Kyler Murray? I guess he's being paid mostly by Arizona still, isn't
By
he?
Arizona, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, he's still. Minnesota's only has to pay him 1.3 million this year, but yeah, I think he was still under contract through the 2028 season for his rookie extension in Arizona. So that's yeah, still quite a bit on the books for Arizona.
Yeah, he signed a big contract, I know, with Arizona. But yeah, Arizona's had some
Yeah, it was a 5-year, $230 million contract. Not as much of it was guaranteed as Deshaun Watson's contract that we'll mention
Wisconsin.
later. Yes, that we'll come up with another North team today.
Yeah, so we have Kyler Murray. Um, yeah, so he's the number one player at his position in Minnesota. He beat out JJ McCarthy as the starting quarterback in camp, or maybe even before camp started, he was kind of seen as the starter. JJ McCarthy, of course, was the 2024 first round draft pick by Minnesota, 10th overall pick. He injured his knee in training camp in his rookie season, and then he played a bit last season as a starter, 10 starts last year, 6-4 records as a starter, uh, through 12 interceptions to 11 touchdowns, only a 72.6 quarterback rating. So not very effective when he was a starter, but it was his first year starting. So the idea is that, well, maybe he can grow more as a starter in his second full year, but the Vikings are in kind of a win now mode, and they're competing in a tough NFC North. They want to make the playoffs. They got rid of Sam Darnold, who started over, instead of McCarthy in McCarthy's rookie year, and led the team to, I think, a 14-3 season and potential playoff success. So I think the Vikings feel like they can win now, and they have the talent to be a solid playoff contender, so they don't want to waste time on maybe a developmental quarterback at this point. and they want to
Yeah.
get somebody more proven, and they think Murray is that and can do well. Uh, I think August 11th was when Murray was announced as the starting quarterback. So 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
probably right before,
Yeah,
right
that's like
before,
before the first preseason game.
before
I
the
don't think
first.
he's played in the preseason yet though, Murray. I think he
Just yeah.
and McCarthy started the second preseason game. So yeah, they're still holding him back, apparently.
And McCarthy, first round draft pick out of Michigan. He led Michigan to the national championship his senior year in 2023 in Jim Harbaugh's final season, also at Michigan. But yeah, 6'3", 219 pounds, JJ McCarthy. But somebody, he was not, he was drafted 10th overall, but he was like the fifth or sixth quarterback taken almost that year. Same year as
Yeah.
Bo Nix and Michael Penix and Jalen Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, that quarterback class, which was one of the most highly touted for a long time and maybe the best in recent memory. And we'll talk late. We'll talk a little bit more next week about the NFC and AFC East. We'll talk about Jaden Daniels and
Drake May,
Drake
both.
May, and we'll talk about Caleb Williams just in a few minutes. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, that's the second quarterback in Minnesota. Probably is McCarthy, although the Vikings have also brought in Carson Wentz again to be a potential backup. I guess Wentz played a little bit last year for the Vikings. He started 5 games, only 2 and 3 as a starter, but he did play a little bit better than McCarthy. He had an 85.8 quarterback rating, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, so more touchdowns than interceptions. Not a ton better, but I guess a little bit better he played than McCarthy did, even though McCarthy had a slightly better record as a starter. Wentz, we talked about, a former backup in Kansas City behind Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago. But Wentz, of course, had his most success in Philadelphia. He's 2016 number 2 overall pick out of North Dakota State. He was drafted. He was the pick right behind Jared Goff, who was the number 1 overall pick that year, who we'll talk about as well later tonight. But yeah, Wentz is when he's had some success as a starter. He did very well back in the 2017 season, almost MVP level, but until he got injured at the end of the season. But he's had injuries, but he has played pretty well when he's been thrust into the spotlight. Although maybe the last couple of years, maybe he's aging a bit. He's getting older and hasn't done quite as well. He's 33 years old now. He'll be 34 before the season's over. So a little bit older than some quarterbacks, but not as old as, quarterbacks we'll talk about later tonight. So somebody who's still maybe looking to start his game. He's a big, much bigger guy than Kyler Murray is. Of course, 6'5", 237 pounds. A big guy, mostly not really a running quarterback anymore at this stage of his career, but somebody who maybe could see himself as a fringe starter in the league. So it seems like the Vikings have uh, quite a bit of depth at quarterback. Even if they don't like what McCarthy brings to the table, they have a decent backup in Carson Wentz, and that's not even their last quarterback. They still have another quarterback who started a couple of games for them last year. That was Max Brosmer. Brosmer, however, had a dismal stat line as starting quarterback. He had a 1-1 record as a starter, but he only threw for 328 yards and 4 interceptions, no touchdowns in his uh, 2 games that he played, or 2 games that he started for the Vikings. 53 quarterback rating, so not so great. But he was the starter in week 12 when McCarthy had suffered a concussion, and then in week 17 when McCarthy had hurt his hand. So, but Brosmer was a former undrafted quarterback out of University of Minnesota in the year in 2025. So he was undrafted last year, but did end up playing for his college hometown Vikings team. Brosmer himself is from Georgia, so he's not uh, real. I guess he actually was born in Davenport, Iowa. It says after
Oh,
he moved to Toronto and then to Roswell, Georgia. So in Iowa, another Iowa-born quarterback. Do you like Davenport,
one of the
quad
five quad
cities?
cities.
One of the five quad cities, yes, along with Bettendorf, Rock Island, Moline, and East Moline now
East
is one of the
Moline.
five quad cities.
Yes.
What do you think East Moline being added to the quad city? Do you think they should be the Quint cities?
Yeah, they have to rename it. I mean, well, I mean, why not? I guess that, the Big 12 doesn't have 12 schools in it. The Big 10 doesn't have 10 schools in it. What do numbers even mean, Mike?
I don't know. I would say if you're going to call them the
Quad
quad
cities
cities,
have five. Hmm.
yeah, I think you need.
Quad plus one cities.
Yeah. When did East Moline become the fourth quad?
The fifth quad.
The fifth quad. Yeah, the fifth quad.
I don't know.
How big
Yeah,
is
did
it?
they was it just part of Moline initially and then they like filed to become an independent
I don't know. East Moline. It's
separate
the
city?
yeah. East Moline is the fifth largest of the quad cities.
Yeah.
It is 21. Its population in 20 was 21,374 in 2020. Rock Island, the fourth of the quad cities, was 37,000.
It's pretty distant third, but these aren't very
Yeah.
big numbers though for the
39,000 for
population.
Bettendorf, 42,985, so 43,000 for Moline, but then 100 and almost 102,000 for Davenport. Davenport's by far the largest of the quad cities. It seems like these maybe should be called Davenport and the quad cities,
Yes.
because those would be the four other cities besides Davenport. Davenport is more than twice as large as any of the quad cities. So have you I was reading somewhere that the Quad Cities was known for a specific type of pizza. Have you heard of Quad Cities style pizza? I'm gonna see if I can.
No. What could the difference be? Like what would be do you know what it is or
Got a Wikipedia article. It's a variety of pizza originating in the Quad Cities region of Illinois and Iowa in the United States. It includes most of the toppings are under the cheese, apparently, and it's cut into strips rather than in slices. It's a round pie but it's cut into like a half and then into strips, like you would
maybe
cheese
like a
sticks or
breadstick or
something.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's got most of the toppings under the cheese and tomato sauce. Also, tomato sauce may be a little spicier, made with red chili flakes or cayenne pepper. Toppings placed under the cheese and being cut into strips instead of triangular slices.
Hmm. It's not like that garbage St. Louis pizza that uses the disgusting cheese and
And Provel, you don't like the same. I kind of like St. Louis style pizza. I think it's kind of fun sometimes.
that's blasphemy, Mike.
I kind of like it. I like Emo's
How can
pizza.
someone from Kansas City say anything positive about St. Louis at all? No matter what it is.
What about what it is? Yeah, I can't. But I like some regional cuisines. I like Cincinnati chili as well, which a lot
No,
of people don't care for. Have you had Cincinnati chili?
no, no, I never have. No, no,
It's got a kind of cinnamon flavor in it. It's got a
no.
nutmeg cinnamon kind of chocolate even, a little bit of sweetness to it. It's served over spaghetti with a lot of cheese
Yeah,
on top.
that it sounds fine. I've just never had it. That's all. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I've
interesting.
never
A lot of
gone to
people don't.
Cincinnati
A lot of
myself.
people don't care for Cincinnati style chili either. I
No,
think it's the St. Louis style pizza of chili. I think
yeah,
so. It's better. I think it's the worst style of pizza though by far. And if you look it up, it's Altoona style pizza. Altoona, Pennsylvania has its own style of pizza. Uh, If you look it up on Wikipedia.
Oh, why? 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 That should not be a thing, Mike. That it just looks disgusting.
Yeah, it's got kind of Sicilian style pizza, but it has a slice of Velveeta type of cheese or
American cheese.
American
It's not even
cheese
cheese.
on it.
It's a
Yeah,
cheese
melted
product.
on top of it.
Yes. Gross. That looks absolutely disgusting, Mike.
Yeah, I've never, well, I've been to Altoona and eaten pizza there, but I've never had the Altoona style pizza because I'm afraid to try it, and I don't really want to try
Ugh.
it. I've been to Altoona quite a bit. There's some decent pizza places in Altoona that I've been to, but
That serve Altoona style pizza, but you've just never ventured into their.
I've never been to the Altoona style pizza. I've been to there's like a restaurant there that has like people from the Bronx that own it. It's called Mama Randazzo's. This is pretty good pizza in Altoona. There's also a little chain that is has some spots in Altoona as well called Best Way Pizza that has square slices, but it has like regular cheese.
I
It's
thought maybe
kind of
they'd still have like the Altoona style
oh,
pizza,
you
but
can
it's
get
not like
Altoona
the
plus.
only.
I think
It's
maybe
not the
some places
only thing on the
do.
menu or something,
I
right?
think maybe
Yeah.
some places do. I've never been to a place that has actually served the Altoona style. I don't
Okay.
think, at least I've never gotten it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I question the taste of the Altoona residents, Mike. If this has become a thing,
Yeah.
something has gone wrong.
Yeah. And sometimes the slices are sliced green bell pepper and deli salami under the cheese as well. Yeah, it looks like so it makes it looks really strange, I think.
Quite unappealing, Mike.
Very unappealing looking, I think. Especially look at the Wikipedia page. But that's so I'd say that's the least good. I think that's the least good local style of pizza. So I'd say Quad Cities is probably a lot better than which I haven't had, but sounds a lot better
No.
than Altoona style. And even I'd say you would even say St. Louis style pizza looks pretty appetizing compared to
In
the Altoona.
comparison, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I'm going to try either of them. Like
Have you tried
if I'm in either town, I will choose a different style of cuisine.
St. Louis style pizza?
No, I refuse.
No. It's
On
okay.
general principle and knowing what it is, and it doesn't sound appetizing even. So
Okay.
yeah,
I think it's pretty good.
you're wrong.
So maybe I like Altoona style pizza. I don't know. I'm afraid to try Altoona style. But yeah, the fifth where how we were talking about the Quad Cities, the fifth of the Quad Cities.
Yes, because
This
of Max
next
Brosmer.
Brosmer. Yeah, even though it looks like
Yes,
Brosmer, he's pronounced Brosmer.
yes. I was kind of hoping you were going to pronounce it Brosmer, so I could correct you because I remember last year that you taught me that it was actually Brosmer.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd slip into like an alternate reality. But no,
Yes.
you were right on it. So good, but also unfortunate.
Oh wait, I misspoke about East Moline. Apparently, Bettendorf, Iowa became the fifth of the four
Oh, so what,
Quad
East
Cities.
Moline's just out in the cold? The sixth?
East Moline was already one of them.
Oh,
It was Moline, East Moline,
oh, and Bettendorf snuck in?
Davenport, Davenport, and Rock Island. And then Bettendorf moved in to the top five. So it was called the Quad Cities, and they tried to add the Quint Cities because with an opening of an Alcoa plant east of Davenport in 1948, the town of Bettendorf underwent so much growth that the people in the community discussed the adoption of the name Quint Cities. This time, the name Quad Cities had become well known beyond the area, and Quint Cities never caught on, despite the efforts of TV stations. Consequently, when Bettendorf passed East Moline in size, there was some debate about whether Bettendorf had displaced East Moline.
Hmm.
Instead, local officials, such as the Chamber of Commerce, chose an inclusive approach, maintaining the name Quad Cities, yet including all five cities.
They didn't go for a pseudo uh there can be only four
Yeah,
scenario.
they didn't knock East Moline out of the Quad Cities like Pluto was knocked out of the planet status.
Yes.
Yeah, they decided to keep East Moline as a. So the next most populous
I thought it
city.
was going to be like a Highlander, but there can be only four instead of there can be only one.
Yeah, the next highest populated city is Silvis, Illinois, which has 8,000 people. So it's about 13,000 people fewer than East Moline. But I guess if it keeps growing, I don't know if Silvis is growing a little bit faster, uh, as is Eldridge, Iowa. It's also growing a little faster. It's almost 7,000 people. If it keeps up, I wonder if they'll end up becoming
Yes.
the
Elevated
sixth,
to
a
a
sixth
six, a
quad city.
hex city.
Yeah,
They're probably not going to go with that, with hex, I'm
hex
assuming.
or sex. The
I guess
sextet city.
that would be a way to, encourage population growth
Hex
if
and
they went with that.
yeah, hex and sex each have their own negative sides to it. So
Yeah, for
you'd want
marketing
to skip
purposes.
over six completely and get to
Yeah.
hept and sept if you wanted
Yes.
the seven cities, which has a much better ring to it than the yeah.
Right.
I don't think
Right.
Chamber of Commerce will want to do the sex or
No,
so,
no.
yeah, but it's either overly sexual or it's bad luck, one of the two,
Right.
and you
Some kind
don't
of
want
witchcraft or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
either.
I guess you could go with penta cities
Hint, yeah,
for five instead of quint. Or yeah.
or tetra, I guess, instead of quad.
Yes, for four. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The tetra cities and quad cities. Yeah,
I guess quad cities just says it has a little bit better sound to it.
yeah, but the quint cities never quite took off.
Ah,
So, but yeah, so I guess we unfairly maligned East Moline as the that's
big.
I guess that's why uh there are five quad cities because East Moline used to be one of the four, and then
Yeah.
Bettendorf jumped in. So that makes a little bit more sense why they decided to go. There are five
Yeah.
cities, but yeah, Davenport is easily the
By far
largest
the biggest. Yeah.
of those quad cities, and one of the two Iowa. I think you prefer the Iowa side to the Illinois side, being from Iowa.
Yeah. Naturally. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the Minnesota Vikings quarterback room. We want to should we anything
Yes.
else we want to talk about with the Minnesota Vikings, or should we move on to uh, jumping across the Mississippi River and going into Wisconsin to Green Bay?
I would just say that they did use the order of the quarterbacks last time was uh, McCarthy played the first quarter plus a little bit of the second. Wentz played the end of the second quarter, and he led them on the one scoring drive they had. And then Brosmer finished the game, but the team only put up 3 points in the game.
Yeah.
So
So we have
not terribly exciting performance from the team offensively at all. So
no. So it seems like yeah, then Murray, McCarthy, Wentz, Brosmer in that order, probably at least at this point.
yeah,
Possibly I could see Wentz and McCarthy switching, but like
yeah, I think the team would hope that one QB would just
and
take the
they
position
I'm
and
sure they're
make
hoping
it
that
clear.
McCarthy would do that because they spent
Yeah,
a first round draft pick on McCarthy and they aren't spending
yeah,
as much nearly as much draft capital in the other players. So,
yeah.
but
Murray's basically a freebie,
mhm.
but but he's a proven commodity though too in the NFL as a solid QB if he can stay healthy. And they have an elite wide receiving core, so
Yeah, yeah,
really they just need a QB
Jefferson,
that can hit
Addison,
a wide
yeah.
receiver that is very fast.
Hmm. They have good
Yeah,
tight end, good yeah, they're a good they have a good roster.
yeah,
But they also are in a tough division with a lot of good teams. I think all four teams in the division have playoff aspirations this year. Maybe it's the only division I think that has four teams that we think are probably all seen as playoff caliber. because the Bears made the playoffs last year, as did I think it was the Bears and the Bears, Packers, and the Lions all make the playoffs. It was everybody but the where
Mm.
did the Lions miss out? I can't remember if they.
Yeah, I don't actually don't remember now.
I know. Yeah, it was the Bears won the North, and the Packers were the seventh wild card seed. So the Lions missed out on the playoffs
Yeah.
last year, as did the Vikings.
Okay.
So anyway, let's go back to Green Bay. Green Bay has four quarterbacks as well. Their starter, of course, is Jordan Love, who's developed into a pretty good quarterback for. I guess they only have three quarterbacks excuse me, only three quarterbacks on the Green Bay roster right
Yeah.
now instead of the four, which just seems to be what most teams have right now.
Yes.
Green Bay drafted, of course, Jordan Love somewhat controversially in 2020 with their first round pick, 26th overall. They still had Aaron Rodgers at that time. It took him a couple of years before he ended up playing much at all. 3 years before he ended up starting, um, basically sitting on the bench for a long time behind Rodgers, who still thought of himself and as a top caliber starting quarterback. But Love was a kind of developmental player out of Utah State, 2020 draft pick. But he has started at least 15 games a season since 2023. It seems like maybe he's sort of plateaued, but he's had a pretty good quarterback rating. He's rating is near 100 total. He's thrown 83 touchdowns in 3 years over to only 31 interceptions, 27, 20, and 1 as a starter, including 9, 5, and 1 as a starter last year. Threw for 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He's also yeah, become again one of the better quarterbacks probably in the league. You would say maybe top half, but maybe somebody with still a lot of potential and hasn't yet shown everything. He's 27 years old. He'll be 28 in November. He drafted out of Utah State, and we had talked about him as a somewhat controversial pick when he was drafted because he was not even the most successful Love in the Mountain West Conference his senior year. I can't remember what the other guy's name was. He's fallen off the radar. But
Yeah. I think he was on a preseason roster last season still, but the other love.
yeah,
But yeah.
but yeah, Love's gonna be the starter. But can the Packers have more than just sort of mediocre-ish success with Love? He's basically led the team to kind of three, you know, 9 to 10 win seasons in a row. He had Malik Willis as backup the last couple of years, but Willis has parlayed his success as Love's backup to becoming a potential starter in Miami. We'll talk about him next year. So Malik Willis is gone. So now we have a possible second new backup quarterback, and they brought in a veteran to be the backup. It seems like in Green Bay, they brought in Tyrod Taylor, who is now 37 years old. Did you realize Taylor was that old?
No.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He was a 2011 sixth round pick by the Baltimore Ravens. So he's really stuck around. Now this will be his 16th season as quarterback. Probably most famously, he started 3 years in a row in 2015, 2016, 2017 for the Buffalo Bills. He then has kind of been a spot starter since then. He was tabbed to be the starting quarterback at one point for the Los Angeles Chargers. Remember that? And then he had a collapsed lung because he got a some sort of problem, cortisone shot
Right.
something like into his lung or something
Yeah.
like that. It
In
went to
the
his
after a preseason injury.
yeah. It was something odd that happened. So he kind of lost out, and then then Justin Herbert became the starting quarterback in week one rather than he was going to be maybe the starting quarterback later on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy.
But yeah, that was the 2019 season, I believe. But yeah, he started
Josh Love was the other.
Josh Love. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He started 4 games for the Jets last year. Didn't do particularly well, but he's had a decent run as a starting quarterback when he's played. He's also a very capable backup, I'm sure. So he's somebody that can win some games if Jordan Love happened to go down with injury. I think
Yeah.
having Tyrod Taylor is a pretty good backup. Former Virginia
Who
Tech.
who was their backup last year?
It was Malik Willis, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's him. Yeah. And the third quarterback in Green Bay is the developmental quarterback Kyle McCord, 23 years old, out of Syracuse, 2025 sixth round draft pick. Also played at Ohio State for a year as their starting quarterback. So he started for Ohio State in 2023, started for Syracuse 2024. Both uh, stops he did very well. He's still only 23 years old. This is his second year in pro football, but he hasn't yet. He was drafted actually by the Eagles in the sixth round. He was waived by the Eagles and then signed to the practice squad, and then he's been with the Pack. This is his first year with the Packers. He was with the Eagles last year, practice squad, now on the Packers. So probably be a practice squad guy again, I would guess. But 6'3", 218 pounds out of Ohio State and Syracuse, originally from Philadelphia. So he was drafted by the Eagles, his hometown team, who did not end up keeping him around. But he did pretty well as a starter in Syracuse, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions his fourth year as a starter, 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in his 1 year at Ohio State, which he played. So he only started 2 years in college, but successful in both locations. He finished 10th in the final Heisman Trophy race in 2023. So I'm not quite sure why he left Ohio State. I don't know who the starter for Ohio State was in 2024, but was that what's his name? Will Howard, I think maybe. We'll talk about him when we talk about the
Yes, Will Howard.
when we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers later today. So yeah, those are the three quarterbacks. It seems like it's pretty obvious pecking order. Jordan Love starter, Tyrod Taylor backup, veteran backup, and Kyle McCord developmental practice squad type. Anything to add with Green Bay?
Their most recent playoff or most recent preseason game, they did all three quarterbacks did play. So even Jordan Love
Hmm.
played at least one series and in a nice touchdown drive. All three QBs ended up having touchdown drives. So it looked like their productivity all around for Green Bay in their most recent preseason game, QB position. But they played in the order that you expected them to do as well. Nothing too exciting,
Nothing too exciting. Okay.
but all productive.
Okay. Let's move on down Lake Michigan then. Down a little bit west, I guess, to Chicago. The Chicago Bears will be a little bit even further east as time goes on because they're moving to Indiana,
All right.
likely when they get done with Soldier Field, building the new stadium in Indiana on the Indiana side of Chicago. So just like the Chiefs are leaving and going to Kansas, the Bears are leaving and going to Indiana, it seems like. But yeah, we have the Chicago Bears.
I have a hard time believing that's going to happen, Mike. It seems like there's going to be something that would 11th hour sort of thing to like keep it in Chicago
Well, they would need it.
area.
Yeah, well, they're still in the Chicago area, but it's just the Indiana
Yeah, in
side.
physical Chicago though, not outside the state. That just seems crazy.
Well, both New York teams are outside the state.
True,
They're both in New
true. That's true.
Jersey,
Yeah,
so it's not that unusual.
it's not unprecedented, but it just
And
seems odd for Chicago.
well, maybe Caleb Williams can keep the Bears in Illinois. He's the presumptive starter, former first round overall pick out of USC, played for Oklahoma as well, number one overall pick by the Bears in 2024. He had kind of a rough-ish first year, but a better second year in terms of overall record. He led the Bears to an 11-6 playoff division winning record, 27 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. He also ran for 3 touchdowns as well. So he's sort of dual threat quarterback. Doesn't run quite as much as somebody like Kyler Murray, but maybe runs a bit like Mahomes in his the running level. So also been compared most often to Mahomes in his playing style, improvisational ability, arm strength, things like that. But hasn't had quite the success that Mahomes was. And he was nearly the first 4,000-yard passer for Chicago, I think, but they still haven't had one of those, I believe. If I'm
Yeah,
He was passed for 3,942 yards, so
that
only
sucks.
58 yards um, less than 4,000.
I'm sure there was, one or two pass interference calls that could have gone either way or something like that, right?
Yes.
That you could find that few yards on over the course of the whole season.
Mhm.
Just a play or two, probably, right?
That's the play. Yeah, a couple. Yeah,
Yeah,
a big drop
maybe
here
just
or
one.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, so 3,948 yards is 942 yards, 58 yards short. So this year, I'm sure they hope that he can surpass that 4,000 yard barrier for the Bears. And maybe we'll see what happens. So yeah, he's the starter. Caleb Williams, you know, much hyped number one overall draft pick in that hyped 2024 draft class as well. So, but he's going to be the starter. And there are three, I guess, quarterbacks vying for the backup spot. It seems like the two that are most likely to become the backup are either an older veteran or a younger veteran. Well, maybe we should want to do Case Keenum first.
sure.
Case Keenum, now 38 years old, former undrafted quarterback out of the University of Houston. He started out his career for the Houston Texans, but he has played now since 2012. This will be his 14th year or fifth, yeah, 15th year in the league. He didn't play his rookie season, but he's been around for 15 years. He hasn't actually played in a game since 2023. He last was with the Bears in 2025. He didn't play a game. He also was with Houston in 2024. Did not play. So he hasn't made the field, been on the field in 2 years. But I think I would say he's probably next in line behind Caleb Williams if they need a player, but maybe not. I'm not sure. He has a complete record of 30 and 36 as a starter. His last year where he started a full season was 2018 in Denver, where he went 6-10 as a starter. He started the first 8 games or 8 games in Washington as well in 2019, but he's been just a spot starter since. He's a decent, high quality backup, aging quarterback, probably knows the systems very well. The highest number of touchdowns he ever threw in a season was 22 in a season he played. That was his one of his seasons with Minnesota. We play, when he led the Vikings to a playoff spot that year, but he was injured, then went to Denver, and hasn't been quite the quarterback that Denver thought he was, and then he's been mostly a backup since then. And yeah,
He
he used
was
to.
the first QB in relief of Williams in the last preseason game. So
Okay.
it seems you are on the right track here for the order of the QBs.
Yes, and then we have, so I guess after Keenum, who would be, again, a sort of typical veteran backup for a young quarterback. If you want to do what the kind of the Chiefs did with Matt Moore and uh, other backup quarterbacks, Blaine Gabbert. I'm blanking on the Chiefs' primary backup that the Chiefs had during Mahomes's career.
Uh, Matt Moore,
Not Matt Moore, the other guy.
uh, not Wentz.
Not
Uh,
Wentz.
uh,
Forgetting.
nope, draw a blank.
Chad Henne. Chad Henne.
Henny, had
Chad Henne.
Henny.
Yeah. Chad Henne. I couldn't remember his name
Yeah,
for some reason. It's how fast we forget about people.
yes,
Even us at the power hour, we sometimes will forget. But yeah, Chad
yeah,
Henne. But anyway, he's sort of a Chad Henne style backup, is Case Keenum.
yeah.
So then probably the third quarterback then is another youngish quarterback, Tyson Bagent, who's had some success as a starter for the Bears. Bagent now is 26 years old, undrafted quarterback in 2023 out of Shepherd University. Do you know where Shepherd University is located?
This is news to me, Mike. I have no clue.
Shepherd University is, I'll give you a hint, but it won't help you.
I thought you were gonna say, "Here's a hint. It's in Oklahoma."
They're a Division II team, and they play in the Pennsylvania State Athletic
Hmm,
Conference.
hmm. And it's not in Pennsylvania,
But
apparently.
it's not in Pennsylvania.
Is it in Ohio?
It is in West Virginia.
Ah, yeah. Went the wrong way. Went the wrong direction.
There are 17 teams in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, 16 of which are in Pennsylvania, and one in West Virginia, which is Shepherd University. I actually taught at one of those universities in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. That was Lock Haven University. I taught there for a
Oh,
semester as a maternity leave replacement in the fall of 2018. But yeah, they're sort of the Frostburg state of Pennsylvania, Lock Haven University. But yeah, it's small-ish colleges for the most part, Division II. But yeah, Shepherd University in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, which is located in the far western panhandle. I mean, excuse me, not the far western, far eastern panhandle of West Virginia. So it's somewhat
hmm.
close to um, Martinsburg and some of the other cities in West Virginia, but technically part of the Washington, D.C. metro area. That's how big the D.C. area spreads out, even into part of West Virginia. It's not too far. It's only about
Sprawling.
yeah, it's only about 50 miles from here in Frostburg. But yeah, Tyson
Oh,
played quarterback at Shepherd University from Martinsburg, West Virginia, originally that area. So he went to that area. His father, I don't know if you know this, according to Wikipedia, his father is a world arm wrestling champion with 17 titles.
was unaware of that as well.
He credited his father, known as Travis Bagent, as his quote right hand man. I don't know if that's because he wrestled with his right hand or because he was just his uh, close
Most
associate.
trusted,
Close associate.
most trusted advisor.
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Anyways, Tyson Bagent. He's played a little bit in the pros. He started 4 games in 2023. He's only thrown a few passes since 2023, but he's thrown 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He ran for another 2 touchdowns. So kind of a not really a scrambling quarterback in college, but somebody who's uh, he threw for 5,000 yards one season at Shepherd. He had very good success at Shepherd, the Division II school. He won the Harlan Hill Trophy as the Division II Player of the Year. That's a Division II Heisman Trophy, basically. So he was very good at Division II level, has stuck on as the kind of developmental third quarterback in Chicago, getting into a. So he actually threw 4 passes, and Keenum threw no passes in Chicago last year. So in some ways, maybe Bagent is the backup, or
Yeah.
maybe he's the in-game backup
So it
or
looks like
gadget player.
he actually is listed as the number two QB on the depth chart, but he did not play in the last game because he apparently has a hamstring injury, but he's expected to be back soon. So it looks like Bajan actually is the two, but
Hmm.
he was just out this week. I guess he played in week the first preseason game and yeah, picked up a hamstring injury. So
Spajan is maybe so there's a competition for number 2 then,
possibly.
and then the number 3 quarterback. So it might be Bagent, might be Keenum, number 2 or 3, but number 4 quarterback, kind of the consensus, I'm sure, is rookie quarterback Miller Moss, undrafted free agent out of Louisville. He also played at USC for a bit. 6'1". He was the backup to Caleb Williams at USC while Caleb Williams was there, and then started a, much of the 2024 season at USC, and then played at Louisville in 2025. So he undrafted in the 2026 draft. He was named the MVP of the 2025 Boca Raton Bowl.
No Pop Tarts Bowl,
No,
but still.
Louisville defeated Toledo in that game. But yeah, he's from California. I don't know, fourth quarterback, developmental. He is 24 years old, even though he only started 2 years. So he's still is on that older side of young for the rookie court for rookies anyway. So
Yes. But maybe even more inexperienced than as well.
yeah, he
Older and less experienced than younger some younger QBs.
he was
And
yeah,
that really
he was also the MVP of the 2023 Holiday Bowl. So he's been MVP of 2 bowl games. In the
nice.
2023 Holiday Bowl, he was the quarterback because Caleb Williams sat out that bowl game and didn't
Mm.
play, and he ended up throwing 6 touchdown passes ironically, against Louisville. So
The
against
team he next joined.
next joined in 2 years after that. So,
Wow. Yeah.
but
It
anyway,
was
that's
he played all
I
right
feel
in the he played the second half of the last preseason game. He was 13-21. only 103 yards though, so pretty low yardage for the number of attempts. But you know,
Miller Moss's father has his own Wikipedia page. Speaking of fathers, we talked about Travis Bagent, Tyson Bagent's father, who was a world arm wrestling champion. Miller Moss's father is apparently a well-known architect.
no,
He has taught at Southern California Institute of Architecture and was also at the Yale and Harvard for a while. Appointments at Columbia. He Eric Owen Moss Architects. So he's a well-known modernist architect.
there you go.
Look at his. If you check out his Wikipedia page, it sort of looks sort of Frank Gehry, but also weirder. Like,
Weirder than Frank Gehry.
yeah,
What was it, Eric Moss?
yeah. Eric Owen Moss.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if weirder than Frank Gehry, but Frank Gehry's better known. So I guess you see his stuff.
yes. But yeah, not everything just straight lines. It's a lot of
A lot
like
of just
curvature.
random
So this
stuff
stuff
sticking out of
is
nowhere. Yeah.
yeah, not necessarily the most practical of designs,
hmm
but interesting though.
Yeah. Older guy, 83 years old. So he was not young when he had Eric Miller Moss. He was almost 60 years old when he had Miller Moss. So
Yeah. Huh?
anyway, that's the Chicago Bears. So we have a possible battle between two in the second position between Case Keenum and Tyson Bagent, a solid quarterback with still a lot of upside in Caleb Williams, and then a fourth developmental quarterback in Miller Moss, son of a renowned architect. Much like Andrew Scaff.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Sure.
So, moving on, should we move on to Detroit?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, the Detroit Lions,
Another entrenched QB here, right? That QB1.
yeah, another, yeah, the Detroit Lions only have three quarterbacks on their roster as of now, and their entrenched quarterback was mentioned, something we mentioned very briefly earlier, and that is Jared Goff, who is their starter. He's been with the Rams since 2021 in that noted trade with with the Lions for Matthew Stafford. So this will be his sixth season in Detroit after 5 seasons in Los Angeles for the Rams.
A trade where both teams seem to have won, though, right? Like
Yeah,
they,
both teams have done pretty well.
yeah. I mean, the Rams won championship, but the Lions have been really competitive.
Yeah, they've been an improved team
Yeah.
since Detroit traded for Goff. Goff had a rough first year in terms of record, but he's had a winning record as a quarterback in the last every year of the last 4 years. But sort of a disappointing 9-8 season last year for Goff, but he still had 105.5 quarterback rating, 34 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, threw for nearly 4,600 yards. So a pretty big season for Jared Goff, who maybe doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but is a very accurate passer. He completes, he had a 72.4 completion percentage in 2024, 68% completion percentage in 2025. So he completes, a high number of his passes. He's not really a running quarterback at all either, but he throws the ball very well. And he's got, good players to throw the ball to, good players to hand the ball off to. And so the Lions are looking, I'm sure, for another playoff appearance under Jared Goff, who was, I think, again, maybe he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he's certainly not going to lose your team games either. So,
Yeah. And
and
he's in the third year of his 4-year deal that's guaranteed. A fifth, there's a possible fifth year too. So this is not like the end of his contract, but presumably he's looking for maybe one more extension off of this potentially.
yeah, Goff he was the number one overall draft pick in 2016 out of North Carolina, and he is how old is Goff? He is 31 years old. He'll be 32
Yeah.
in October. So, right,
I
yeah.
think he'd be like trying to get another year or two at least out of the
Actually, he went to University of California, Berkeley, not North Carolina. I don't know why I said North Carolina.
oh
Uh, he went to Berkeley.
yeah.
Grew up in California as well. Grew up in the Bay Area. So he 6'4", big, pretty tall guy. Not the bulkiest of quarterbacks, but not the smallest either. And yeah, had a best year probably in 2024, where he had a 15-2 record for the Lions and 3 for 37 touchdowns, 111.8 quarterback rating. Not much worse last year either, but the team didn't do quite as well under Goff last year as it did in 2024. So Goff's still going to be the starter, and the backup likely is Joshua Dobbs, sort of interesting player in his own right. Dobbs has been around since 2017. He was a fourth round pick by the Steelers, and this is his one, two, three, four, five. Depends on how you count it, about 11th team that he's played on. Um, he actually was with the Lions in 2022 as a practice squad off-season player for the Lions. But yeah, Joshua Dobbs drafted out of the University of Tennessee in the fourth round, originally to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then he went to Jacksonville, back to Pittsburgh, to Cleveland, to Detroit, and then to Tennessee. He was actually only with the Detroit practice squad for about two and a half weeks in 2022. So he wasn't really with the Lions very long. But yeah, he signed a 1 year contract following the retirement of Teddy Bridgewater for 1 year, $1.425 million. So very cheap deal. He's started 15 games in his NFL career, only won three of them. But a couple of times he was basically brought in the week before and just dropped in as a starter because he was seen as a very smart guy. I think he studied aerospace engineering in
Yeah.
Tennessee. So wanted to be an astronaut. So, someone who's, yeah, seen as somebody who can learn a system very quickly, but maybe not the best backup. He's only got a 78.3 career quarterback rating, 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. So not the most decorated backup for sure, but maybe you think Goff's been durable. He's played most of his games. We can get by with Dobbs as a
Yeah.
back. And so that's Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, because he was traded like during the season a couple of years ago, right? And then played like
Yeah.
the next like immediately. Like
Yeah, the next week. Yeah, he was trade. So I think he was with Cleveland, and then he got traded to Arizona, and like was thrown in and started Arizona. Then Arizona traded him to Minnesota, and then
yeah,
started with Minnesota like immediately. So yeah, it was a interesting 2023 season for Joshua Dobbs.
three teams starting for more than one team, but not the team he started with, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a crazy season.
and so he's probably number two ahead of Luke Altmaier, undrafted free agent in 2026 out of Ole Miss in Illinois. He primarily played for Illinois the last 3 years as starter. He had some decent stats for Illinois. He won 19 games over the last 2 years, losing only 7 games. Three for 22 touchdowns each of the last 2 years as well. Only uh, 11 total interceptions the last 2 years. So 44 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Solid quarterback. Also, not the tallest, about 6'1", 6'2", 210 pounds. He, yeah, he's definitely the developmental quarterback, the third quarterback. He is 23 years old, so not young for a first year player, but also not that old either. He'll be 23 and he'll be 20, actually he'll be 24 in October, so not the, not as young as maybe you'd like, but also that's why you have him as an undrafted free agent as well. So he played mostly, yeah, as I said, played for a little bit for Ole Miss and then went to Illinois for his last 3 seasons. But the number he was from Starkville, Mississippi, which is the home of Mississippi State University. But then he played for Ole Miss, so I don't know. I wonder if that caused some problems
Mm,
in Starkville.
possible.
He was the backup at various points to other quarterbacks we've mentioned in these previews in the past, including Matt Corral, who was out of Ole Miss and then at one point went to the Patriots and the Panthers and didn't latch on there. He was a third round pick, and then he was also the backup. This is why he transferred to Illinois. He was the backup to Jackson Dart. He didn't want to be behind Jackson Dart, so he wanted to start. So he was he,
Yeah.
he he lost out to Jackson Dart, current Giants starter. So maybe he'll be he's a developmental player. Maybe he could work his way into a backup role at some point. But at this point, he's the number 3 guy for sure in Detroit.
Which puts him on the practice squad and, not that far away from potential of playing
Hmm.
and not having to compete against another young QB like most of the other teams seem to have, four QBs still in camp. So
Hmm.
it's a solid opportunity for
Good place
him.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like they did not use all three QBs in the most recent preseason game. Dobbs did start in a disaster beginning to the game where he fumbled that led to an immediate touchdown for Washington. And then he threw an interception on his next drive, but then he did have a 50-yard scramble for a touchdown before he exited the game then. So three possessions, two bad ones, one nice run at the end, and then Altmaier played the rest of the game. So yeah, but that was most of their scoring was the Dubs 50-yard run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so great. So yeah, maybe behind Goff they don't have too much. Maybe they'll look for a backup.
Yeah, they could bring someone else in.
But maybe they'll stick with Dobbs. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the
He,
that's
he seems to be competent though, so that's
yeah.
not a it's
Well,
not
that's
a
the
terrible
yeah.
backup to have. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the NFC North. So we want to move on to the AFC North.
Yep.
So AFC North, we'll go west to east as well. We'll start in Cincinnati. So we're actually moving, I think Cincinnati west of, I mean, east of Detroit.
I think so. It's actually continuous west to east.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of the AFC of the NFC and no, Cincinnati is farther west than Detroit,
Oh
so
yeah, it is
it
quite a
doesn't
bit. Yeah.
doesn't quite work. Okay.
Yeah. So we're backtracking a bit.
Backtracking a bit to Cincinnati. On
Yeah,
to
there is
Cincinnati.
there is like a highway that connects the two. It looks like though, so
Yeah.
you can drive directly from one city to the other, but it's not directly south or veering east. It's actually back
Yeah.
back west.
we've talked about Cincinnati chili already. Cincinnati was once also known as Porkopolis because of its meatpacking prowess.
Yes.
They've also packed at least four quarterbacks into their quarterback room, starting with, of course, Joe Burrow as their number one quarterback. Joe Burrow is just he'll be 30 in December, on December 10th. Joe Burrow, of course, born in Ames, Iowa,
That's right.
but he didn't spend much time in Iowa. He moved to Ohio, I think, as a young kid, but he,
But he was a young child in Ames while I was at Iowa State. So I have to assume that every restaurant that had like a screaming child in it, it was probably Joe Burrow.
young Joe Burrow, yes.
Yes. Thinking back on those days, Mike.
Yeah. Well, Joe Burrow, of course, went to Ohio State, did not like his time at Ohio State, decided to transfer to LSU, had a great career at LSU, was the number one overall draft pick in 2020 by the Bengals, and he's been with the Bengals since 2020. This will be his seventh season as a starter. He's had a number of injury marred seasons since he started, so he's only really had four. He's only really only had three out of six seasons that he's completed or played all the games. So he's been injured half the time. So he's that's been a that's been a question, I guess, for Burrow. Can he stay healthy again? But when he is healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. In 2024, when he was healthy, his team only finished 9-8, but he threw for 43 touchdowns, nine interceptions, 108.5 quarterback rating, 70 plus completion percentage, 4,918 yards. So he's, you know, throwing for a lot of yards, but he's also got a lot of good players to throw to with T. Higgins and um, I'm blanking on the name of
Uh,
Bengals receiver.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yes. That was like not Justin Jefferson. He also an LSU player,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, Jamar Chase, one of the top receivers in the league. So he's got basically two number one receivers to throw to.
Yeah.
He's had some defensive issues while he's been in Cincinnati, but of course, he has made one Super Bowl, made the AFC Championship game a number of times as well. So he's had some success as a starter in the playoffs. He's got a 5-2 career postseason record, but he has not been to the postseason since 2022. So the last three seasons, Cincinnati has not made playoffs. Well, partly because of Joe Burrow injuries, partly because of lack of success. But the Bengals are looking to turn that around this year. And again, they have one of the best quarterbacks with Joe Burrow. The backup to Joe Burrow, maybe that's going to be the another Joe Flacco, one of the older quarterbacks in the league. He turned 41 in January. He's of course longtime quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens in 2018. He's bounced around a lot since then to the Broncos, to the Jets, to the Eagles, to back to the Jets, to the Browns, to the Colts, back to the Browns, and now to the Bengals for a 2008 first round draft pick out of the University of Delaware. He also went to the University of Pittsburgh before going transferring to Delaware. Do you know why he transferred from Pitt to Delaware? I think we mentioned this before.
I don't remember.
Because of a former Chiefs quarterback, Tyler Palco, beat him out for the starting position. Do you remember Tyler
Oh.
Palco?
Yeah, that he made like a couple of starts, right? At the end of one season, what was like a throwaway year, basically.
Yeah, he made four starts for the Chiefs in 2011.
Yeah.
Two touchdowns, seven interceptions that year. I think that was the Kyle Orton starting year as well. It was
Mm.
the Chiefs fired Todd Haley, uh,
Yeah.
and Romeo Crennel became the new coach.
Right. Maybe set the team back because they did well at the end of that season.
Yeah, they beat the Packers that year, who had been unbeaten, and they only lost one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that year. But anyway,
Yeah.
Tyler Palko. But anyway, the Bengals have, yeah, Joe Flacco is their backup, very solid, capable backup, although he's getting old at this point. He's still had some good years recently, but he hasn't been a starter full time probably since Denver in 2019, but he's been a backup bouncing around since then. Still has a winning record as a starter. He's thrown 272 touchdowns to only 172 interceptions. So he's been somebody who has had some problems throwing picks and turning the ball over. But he throws a lot of touchdowns as well. So he's kind of a feast or famine type of quarterback, but good, maybe a good backup to have, that's for sure. Uh, he actually started 10 games last year for both Cleveland and Cincinnati. Only won two of those games, however, but he threw for 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Played much better for Cincinnati than he played for Cleveland. So maybe showing that, maybe the dysfunctionality going on in Cleveland. We'll talk more about what's going on in Cleveland very soon when we get to them next. But yeah, backup quarterback definitely at this point in his career, Joe Flacco. And then we have maybe a battle for the number three quarterback position between Sean Clifford and Josh Johnson. Maybe we'll talk about Johnson first. He's been around. He's also 40 plus years old. He's 40 years old. This has got to be the oldest backup quarterback room. We
Yeah.
have 240. We have two players that are over 40 in the Bengals quarterback room, and uh, Josh Johnson was drafted out of the University of San Diego in 2008 in the fifth round, and he's been with just about every NFL team at this point. I can't remember. He's been, I think, a record number of teams. He started with the Buccaneers, went to the 49ers, Browns, Bengals, 49ers, Bengals again, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders, then Washington Redskins, Lions, uh, Jets, Ravens, Broncos, 49ers, Ravens, Commanders, Bengals. So he's been just about everywhere. He's
Yeah.
only started 11 games overall, but two of those games were last year with Washington. So this will be his first, actually his second stint with Cincinnati. He was with Cincinnati in 2013. He didn't start any games. He appeared in two games for Cincinnati in 2013 as their as a backup. But yeah, he started two games for Washington last year, 1-1 record, 372 yards passing. But as his career, he has started 11 games, 2-9 record as a starter. So not he hasn't played a ton as a starter. He's been a career backup.
Yeah, wasn't he the QB that ended up coming in for Purdy
Yes, in the
when Purdy was hurt in the playoff, the NFC championship game?
yeah, in 2022 NFC Championship game, he played. Yeah,
Yeah.
he came in. Uh,
Where the
yeah,
depth chart was Purdy, Josh Johnson,
Purdy.
left-handed Brock Purdy,
Yeah,
and the yes, yeah,
that's exactly right.
all right, yeah,
2022 playoffs.
yeah.
So that's Josh Johnson, another, backup, but long time backup, and hard to say, you know, I don't know why if you have one 40 plus year quarterback in the back, 40 plus year old backup quarterback, why you need another, but the Bengals are going for two, and maybe having multiple coaches on the sideline. And then their fourth quarterback or third quarterback, depending on whether Johnson is the third or fourth, is Sean Clifford, former Penn State quarterback, drafted in 2023 in the fifth round out of Penn State by Green Bay. He was with Green Bay for 2 years, 2023, 2024. He's with the Bengals. This will be his second year with the Bengals. He has thrown one total NFL pass, but he threw that for 37 yards. So he has a career rating of 118.7, which is higher than anybody else. He also though lost a fumble. Well, he fumbled once, but he didn't lose it. So three
Ah,
rushing attempts, -2 yards. So not terribly good on his kneel downs. He probably did, but he threw
yeah.
one pass for 37 yards for Sean Clifford. So he's going to be either the third or fourth quarterback. He is, as I said, 28 years old, turned 28 in July. Not young, but 5 years at Penn State, including 4 years as the primary starter. Redshirted in 2017. He was when I was there, he was still the starter. He was People wanted Drew Aller to supplant Clifford when Aller was there. So
Hmm.
we'll talk about Drew Aller when we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So anyway, that's the Bengals quarterback room. Anything to add?
So they all four of the QBs played in their first preseason game, but then only two of them played in the last game, though, in the most recent game. Not a whole lot going on really. There, Flacco led the team on the only touchdown drive in the first preseason game. Second preseason game, yeah, they didn't play Flacco either, so it was they're a bit of an oddball team as to how they manage their QB. So Johnson started the second game, and then Clifford finished it.
Hmm. So
Johnson ended up with two touchdown passes, 15 of 23, 156 yards, two touchdowns, no picks. Not bad for preseason game.
mhm.
And then yeah, Clifford was 10 of 15 for 126 yards, touchdown and an interception. But they rolled over the Bears, so it wasn't like a super competitive game. But so it looks like the competition is more like for the number three QB because they're already pretty sure that it's going to be Burrow and Flacco as the 1-2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Cincinnati. So we're gonna move on to Cleveland, the other side of Ohio. We'll move northeast from Cincinnati. Cleveland Browns, maybe another team with an interesting quarterback room right now. The Browns have like
Maybe the oddest QB room, right?
yeah, maybe the strangest one of the of the teams today anyway.
Yeah.
They have four quarterbacks, and then they've had a recently named starting quarterback, a blast from the past, starter for multiple seasons in both Houston and Cleveland now, and that is Deshaun Watson, drafted number 12 overall in the first round in 2017, two spots behind Patrick Mahomes. Most remarkably, remember the Chiefs traded up to get Mahomes. I think a lot of people thought they were drafting Watson when they were traded up to draft that quarterback. They ended up drafting Mahomes. Fortunately for the Chiefs and Mahomes both, I think at this point, Watson has been a solid quarterback at times, but of course his off the field issues have caused lots of problems. As in this contract he signed a $230 million contract for 5 years with the Browns after all the off the field incidents came to light, and that was a fully guaranteed contract as well. So that was something that
Yeah.
the Browns are paying a lot of money still for
But it
Deshaun.
wasn't it wasn't just signing him though. It was also trading a lot of draft capital to get it before they signed him, right?
Yeah.
So I mean it's really cost the Browns a lot, not just in dollars, but in whatever kind of goodwill or uh dollars in draft capital altogether. Yes.
Yeah, this will be his uh, fifth season in Cleveland. He did not play at all last year because of a torn Achilles. He hasn't started ever more than 6 games for the Browns. And some of that's because of suspension, some of that's because of just injuries, which he's been had a lot of injuries. But he hasn't had the form that he had in Houston. His last starting year in Houston 2020, he threw for 33 touchdowns, 4,800 yards, 112 quarterback rating. He hasn't sniffed that since leaving that year. So since he was suspended by the league, he has not played as well he had at all. So he's played he started 6 games in 2022 for Cleveland, 6 more in 2023, and then 7 in 2024, none in 2025. And his stint has not been terribly good. He's been 9-10 as a starter for the Browns. And the Browns got rid of Baker Mayfield to bring in Deshaun Watson, and I think that has been a more. It's been sort of again, continuing the Browns' curse. Maybe was part of the bringing in of Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
but maybe the Browns have not learned their lesson because now they're bringing Watson back as the starter ahead of everybody else. That the Browns, the Browns have drafted 3 quarterbacks in the last 2 years now in the draft, but none of those quarterbacks are going to be the starter. They're instead have Watson as the starter. I don't know how much we want to talk about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, what was it, $230 million contract? This is his final year, so they're paying him almost 41 million, or if that's what the cap hit is for him this season. So I presume that's the main reason why they want him to be the
Yeah,
starter,
he'll be
just
31
because
in
they've sunk
September.
so much money into this that they
Yeah,
need to get something for it. And if he's not the starter, then it's just even more of a waste.
I
But
guess. Yeah, yeah, he's 31 years old, so still, in his prime, still, at least you would think, but yeah, has not played well for 5 years basically. So,
yeah,
or 6 years. It's been a while since we've had a good Deshaun Watson performance, but he's beaten out. Uh, I guess number 2 quarterback. It seems like at this point is Shedeur Sanders.
did he actually beat him out?
He
He was
was
named the
named
starter,
the
but like
starter over Shedeur Sanders,
the
former.
stats in the most recent game did not look like you would say that he like won the job.
Yeah, starting quarterback last year in Cleveland for 7 games. He had a 3-4 record. He was a fifth-round draft pick out of Colorado. Of course, he is Deion Sanders' son, which I think maybe led him to dropping a ways in his draft status. He was considered maybe a fringe first-round pick,
Hmm.
second-round pick, but then dropped all the way to the fifth round, even behind his own teammate Dylan Gabriel, who was drafted in the third round ahead of Shedeur Sanders. We'll talk about Gabriel in a second, but it seems like Gabriel is now third on the draft on the depth chart, and Sanders is probably second. Shedeur Sanders uh, threw for 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions last year, and started 7 games for the Browns. Not great, but it was his rookie season. He played pretty well in Colorado. He also had played at Jackson State when his dad was the coach at Jackson State before Tion went to Colorado. So we have Shedeur Sanders as the number 2 quarterback, and Sanders is a primarily a passing quarterback. Maybe he can scramble a little bit, just like Deshaun Watson used to have a lot of running ability as well, but primarily a passer. So yeah, that's I guess second quarterback is going to be Shedeur Sanders at this point. Third quarterback, another 2025 draft pick by the Cleveland Browns, and got drafted in the third round out of Oregon. He also played for Oklahoma and Central Florida before that. Uh, yeah, Shedeur Sanders. Let's see, how old is Shedeur? He is 24 years old, and Dylan Gabriel, the guy who's picked ahead of him, is 25 years old. So he's a year older than Sanders. Again, we've talked about drafting older quarterbacks versus younger quarterbacks. So Sanders has that youth on his side. So it seems like the Browns made a mistake in the order of quarterbacks drafted, or why they drafted Gabriel and then drafted Sanders that year. Why they picked 2 quarterbacks, it doesn't make much sense. But
Really,
you know,
nothing they do tends to make sense in
and they drafted
fantasy.
another quarterback this year in the 6th round. So again, they're keep on drafting quarterbacks, but not very high ones. And then they're still going back to Deshaun Watson But yeah, Dylan Gabriel started 6 games last year for the Browns. He was only 1-5 as a starter compared to Shedeur Sanders, whose record was what was Shedeur Sanders' record? It was 3-4. So not as good in terms of record, but in terms of stats, Dylan Gabriel did a little bit better than Shedeur Sanders. 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 80.6 quarterback rating. But he was former quarterback at UCF, Oklahoma, and then Oregon, which is where he had his most success at Oklahoma and Oregon in 2023 and 2024. And Gabriel is Hawaiian, and he's uh, despite Samoan descent, Hawaiian descent, and Filipino descent, but despite his Hawaiian descent, he does not have the interesting Hawaiian names of you know to to a
Or
yeah my tongue's
DJ
DJ Ui Ungale
Uyunglele, yes.
Ui Ungale, yeah, or Marcus Mariota
Yes.
or Marquez Tuiasosopo. Remember him?
That's a good one too, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Dylan Gabriel. So he's gonna be, I guess, probably third quarterback at this point. But they the Browns drafted another quarterback this year in 2026 in the sixth round. New coach Todd Monken drafted Talon Green, who is 23 years old, but will be 24 in October. Former Arkansas quarterback and Boise State quarterback before that. He had some success at Arkansas, though Arkansas's team did not have much success. But Talon Green is a kind of workout warrior, 6'6", 227 pounds, ran a 4.36 40-yard dash. He rushed for almost 800 yards and 8 touchdowns last year. He also threw for about 3,000 yards. And so he's really a dual threat quarterback that he maybe can run some gadget plays, I would guess, in the NFL if he sticks around. But he's offers a different skill set maybe than Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders do, since they're more of the pass first rather than run first quarterbacks. But yeah, that's Talon Green, again, maybe a raw developmental prospect, but he's somebody a little bit like somebody like Anthony Richardson in terms of his athletic profile, but also somebody who like Anthony Richardson hasn't had any NFL success or a lot of college success, but was drafted basically on potential, seen as another Lamar Jackson type or um, Josh Allen type developmental prospect.
Uh, yeah, they've kind of held the used their QBs kind of strangely, or a little atypically at least anyway, in the preseason where they flipped orders of QBs. Green has yet to even play in a preseason game, but it looks like he's going to play in the third preseason game. So they're not getting a lot of playing time for their younger guys, the youngest guys, early in the preseason. But he will get an opportunity in the third game.
Hmm.
Looks like Dylan Gabriel's going to start the finale, preseason finale, and then Green will finish it. That's what it looks like. But yeah, it looks like Watson started the first game, and Shedeur Sanders came in second. They flipped the order in the second game. Shedeur looked pretty decent at his stats, at least in the second game. And Watson had a couple of scoring drives in the first game, but in the second game he was like not good at all numbers wise. And then it was after the second game that they named him QB1, which just seems odd. It's not like he clearly won the role, or if you're going to give him the role, I think you'd give it to him after the first game and then just have him not play. So then he's like ending on a high note in the preseason, right?
Hmm.
Or wait till he plays the second game in a backup role does not perform well, and then you name him QB1. That seems odd, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what the Browns are doing, so
Uh,
that doesn't surprise me.
that they do things that aren't typical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on from Cleveland down the road a little bit to Pittsburgh, the third of our four AFC North teams. Also, like most teams have four quarterbacks at this point. The starter is obviously going to be Aaron Rodgers, 42 years old. He'll be 43 in December, so this is be possibly his last go round as quarterback, looking for some playoff success that he hasn't had for a while. Looking to stay healthy as well. But yeah, this will be his second season with the Steelers. He was a 2005 first round draft pick by the Packers. He didn't play much until about 3 years after that because he was back up to Brett Favre at that point. But then he's won multiple MVPs, been a very highly decorated quarterback with great stats, great touchdown to interception ratio, 527 touchdowns to only 123 interceptions. He's thrown for nearly 70,000 yards. He's done basically everything in the regular season. He's won one Super Bowl, but he's had playoff success kind of elude him. He's 11-11 career record in the playoffs. Has not been quite the playoff quarterback as he has been as a regular season quarterback. So that's been something that's eluded him. But he did lead the Steelers to the playoffs last year when they finished a 10-6 record, trying to look and get them back into the playoffs this year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He played for the Packers through 2022. Played for the Jets for 2 years. Of course, he had one injured season with the Jets. On the first series of the first game, he injured his was his Achilles that he tore, or was it a knee that he messed up? I can't remember.
Was Achilles.
Achilles, I think. Yeah, and then has been he threw for 24 touchdowns, seven interceptions for the Steelers in 16 games last year, 94.8 quarterback rating. His last really good season was in 2021 when he had an MVP year still. So, yeah. So, Aaron Rodgers, outspoken and, odd in many ways, but a very solid quarterback during his career and an obvious Hall of Famer. But he's probably on his last legs for sure. It's probably be his last season, I would guess. Reuniting with head coach Mike McCarthy, who had him for so many years in Green Bay. Mike McCarthy, of course, came to Pittsburgh from Dallas. He had been Green Bay, then Dallas, and now he's in Pittsburgh as the head coach, supplanting Mike Tomlin, who had been the coach for many, many years before Tomlin left this year. So different coaching staff in Pittsburgh. We'll see how that goes, and we'll see how Rodgers' maybe final season in the NFL goes. Again, he's 42, 43 years old. I guess Tom Brady played till he was 45, but I don't see Rodgers necessarily playing beyond this year.
Yeah. It totally just depends on how this year goes, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
If it's a really easy year or Neil has at least some success, he could probably come back.
Hmm.
If it's like a grind of a year and injury plagued, then I can't imagine he'd want to come back and run it back.
Yeah.
It'd be unlikely. It seems like
Yes,
he's
his
been
back.
a little bit quieter now, though, too, hasn't? Have you heard much about him recently?
No, no, he hasn't said anything weird or
Super controversial?
controversial lately.
No.
Am I frozen? Or wait, no, you were
There you
frozen.
go. Yeah, you were frozen for a moment, but now you have straightened out.
Could you hear what I said?
Yes,
Okay.
the audio did not cut out. The screen cut out for a minute though. Yeah.
It cut out on my end too. So anyway, some
Okay.
possible technical issues. We'll try to wrap this up as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
We still have ways to
Yes.
go. Um, yeah, so the primary backup quarterback is probably going to be Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph, former 2018 third round pick out of Oklahoma State. He's with the Steelers most of his career. He spent 1 year with the Titans in 2024, but he's been with the Steelers other than that. Rudolph is now 31 years old, so he's been around a while. 6'5", 235. Has started 19 games in his career, and he's a 9-9-1 record as a starter. So he's a capable starter when he plays. He doesn't have the stats maybe of somebody like Rodgers, but he is a capable quarterback. He has 30 touchdowns in his career to 22 interceptions, 84.7 career quarterback rating. And he did start one game for the Steelers last year when Rodgers was out. He lost that game, but he's decent backup. He's probably, I guess was at one point still possibly going to be the starter because they didn't know Rodgers was going to come back or not. So he's stuck
Right.
around in Pittsburgh. But yeah, he's going to be the backup for sure. Good quarterback, um, and to have as a backup. And I don't know what else we want to add with
I mean, the thing probably you most remember about him though was that
Mason
fight
Rudolph.
that he was in, right? With
The fight
him.
with Miles Garrett
Yeah, Miles Garrett. That's
when he got beaten with his own helmet, I think.
right. Like we presume that something was said. We don't know what that was, but
Yeah,
that was yeah, pretty nuts.
yeah.
But that's probably is still like the most memorable
That was the 2019
thing
season.
from him, I
Yeah.
suppose, right?
Yeah, it was right when Rudolph was starting
Uh,
his first games uh for the Steelers. He started 8 games for the Steelers that year. That was
yeah,
when Roethlisberger had been injured, so
yeah.
2019. Yeah, so after Rudolph, we have maybe a battle for the third quarterback position between rookie Drew Aller and second year quarterback Will Howard. Will Howard was a sixth. We'll do Will Howard first since he's been around a little bit longer. Then we'll go to Drew Aller. But I think probably Aller is probably likely to be the third quarterback because he was drafted higher than Howard. But Will Howard, former K-State and Ohio State quarterback, won the national championship with Ohio State. Drafted in the sixth round in 2025 by the Steelers. This is his second year in Pittsburgh. He is 24 years old, will be 25 in September, 6'4", 236. He had a 14-2 record in his career at Ohio State. He also started uh, off and on for K-State 4 years from 2020 to 2023. So, former K-State quarterback became Ohio State's quarterback to win the national championship. He is from Pennsylvania. He's from West Chester, Pennsylvania, which is near Philadelphia. So he's got back in Pennsylvania. But yeah, he was the um, national champion as a college player, but didn't, unlike a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks, was not drafted highly in the draft. So, but he was drafted, sixth round, and he didn't play at all last year, so this will be his second year with the Steelers. And he's competing probably with the third round draft pick in this year's draft, Drew Aller, who was the 76 overall pick. Drew Aller was a 4-year uh, player at player at Penn State. He started his last 3 years. He was injured though in 2025, about halfway through the season. Penn State had a terrible season last year. I think Penn State was picked to be like a top five team at the beginning of the season, and then they dropped all the way out. They didn't have a bowl game. They lost their coach. The coach got fired, James Franklin, and now they have Iowa State's head coach, Matt Campbell. as their new coach this year. So Penn State had a kind of a wild year last year, and Drew Allar was the quarterback at the beginning of that, but then missed the second half of the season. But Allar had been a very highly touted prospect going into Penn State and probably was seen potentially as a first round draft pick quarterback at one point, but slipped to the third round because of his injury and because of Penn State's lack of success uh, last last year. So, but he's probably, I would guess, ours maybe the quarterback of the future for Pittsburgh,
Mm.
especially with uh, Rodgers being on the way out, Rudolph having his limitations, and I would say he's Will Howard is probably not going to be the guy either. So, or if he ever gets into a game, maybe he'd be able to work his way into the starting position. But the Steelers might draft another quarterback ahead of him in the next couple of years too. So it's hard to say. But yeah, Aller I think is the quarterback of the future, at least at this point.
So it looks like as they've done the preseason so far, it looks like Howard is the number three and Aller is four. But it looks like Aller played better in the last game in the relief role, but I mean, who knows what's going to actually happen? But
If both Aller and Howard look like quarterbacks, so they're both like 6'5", so
yeah,
big guys.
yeah. In the first preseason game against the Packers, they Rodgers did not play, which is not uncommon. I think he tends to not play in the preseason. But Rudolph started, Howard came in next, and then Aller finished it. All three QBs had like really solid numbers, high completion percentages, good yardage. Aller threw two touchdown passes though, uh, as the third QB in the game. So he had probably the best of the stats of the group. Yeah, 153 yards on 10 of 13 completions is pretty good, pretty decent numbers. Two touchdowns. The second game, the Steelers played very poorly. They were shut out by the Jets. Howard was 10 of 15 for 74 yards in two interceptions. But Aller was not much better. He had better yardage, but his completion percentage was like under 50%, 11 of 23. Uh, so neither had very good stats, but Howard had slightly worse, I guess. But I'm not sure how much you should read into those numbers to predict like what the order of anything is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
it
we'll
seems
see
like
what.
Howard's like solid, but maybe Aller's, has maybe higher ceilings. That's pretty much what you were saying too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
based on.
that's Pittsburgh. We have an aging or aged quarterback at number one, solid backup, and then battle for number three, maybe among some
And maybe
prospects.
one thing to note about Rogers' contract is he's not actually super expensive anymore. He's only 22.5 million is the cap hit for this year. So it's like actually it maybe allows them to put a little bit more around him than he has, had that opportunity in the past, having such a huge salary. But can he overcome his aging enough to make a difference? What's your guess?
I think no, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think I could see them. I think the AFC North's kind of wide open. I think any team but the Browns can win it.
Uh,
The Ravens are the team that you think should win it, but the
yeah.
Steelers have been pretty solid every year, and then the Bengals are also kind of this is maybe their year again. So it's
Yeah.
hard to say who's gonna take the AFC North, but I think any team but the Browns at this point.
If Burrow's healthy, then maybe them.
Yeah,
But yeah, if not, probably not.
yeah. So let's move on to the last of these AFC North teams that we were kind of hinting at, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens technically have five quarterbacks in their uh, quarterback stable at this point, one of whom is on the injured reserve list. Um, well, maybe we'll talk about him first just to get him out of the way. Skylar Thompson,
Yeah.
another former K-State quarterback. He's been with the and former Fort Osage High School standout. He's been with this is his first season with the Ravens. He was with the Dolphins mostly early in his career, and he's hasn't he's started 4 games total for the Dolphins, including one playoff game, but he was hasn't done particularly well in his starts, but he's seen as kind of a project quarterback, but he's on injured reserve already this year, so he's not going to play. This
Non-factor for this season.
He was in injured reserve last year for the Steelers as well. So the last 2 years he's been injured. He was just placed in IR on August 12th, so just a couple weeks ago. So that's Skylar Thompson is the fifth quarterback in the 4 quarterback room. He's the fifth quad city
There you go.
of Baltimore's quarterbacks, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
And so we have 4 other quarterbacks. Of course, the starting quarterback in Baltimore is Lamar Jackson, former first round pick in 2018. He was the 32nd overall pick that year out of Louisville. He had won the Heisman Trophy one of his years at Louisville. He's been a very solid player in his um, 8 seasons already as quarterback at Louisville. This will be his ninth season for I mean, eighth as quarterback for Baltimore. This will be his ninth season as quarterback for Baltimore. He's a two-time MVP, former first team All-Pro as well, many years. Uh, he had a less successful year last year, but he had some injuries. But he's led the Ravens to some gaudy numbers in the regular season, and he's had some really solid years. He's thrown for more than 4,000 yards one year. He threw in 2024. He threw for 4,000 yards, also 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions with 119 quarterback rating that year. That was probably his best year as a starter, but he did not win MVP that year. He actually lost out to Josh Allen that year. That was the same year the Chiefs beat both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson on the road in the playoffs on their way to the Super Bowl, which they lost, but I think that was the 2024 year. Yeah. No, wait, that was the no, the Chiefs. That was the Chiefs were the number 1 seed that year. Uh, that year, I think the Ravens something happened to them in the playoffs. Yeah, the Ravens got beaten in the playoff. They lost. The Ravens were the number 3 seed. They lost to Buffalo in the playoffs that year, and the Chiefs beat Buffalo in
Mm.
the championship game. That was that year. I was confused with the 2023 year, which is actually when Lamar did win an MVP, but in kind of a lackluster year. He didn't. He only threw for 24 touchdowns, 102.7 career quarterback rating, or 102.7 season quarterback rating, 5 touchdowns rushing. It's kind of a bad year for everybody, but he was the kind of de facto MVP that year because Baltimore had a good season. But yeah, he probably should have won in 2024, but didn't win. He lost out to Allen. But anyway, but yeah, Lamar Jackson, classic dual threat quarterback, great runner, improving as a passer every year, it seems like. Somebody who's been really good in the regular season, not so great in the postseason. Although he did have a good postseason his last year, but traditionally he has not done very well in the postseason. So Lamar Jackson is the starter. Again, he's the starter with a new coach now. Who was
First time in his pro career having a different coach.
yeah, not having John Harbaugh
Yeah.
as the coach. Now it's Jesse Minter as the head coach, former defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. And he's 43 years old himself, so young coach, former yeah, again, former defensive coordinator. So he's not an offensive guy. So again, Jackson does not have a kind of offensive minded head coach. He's got
Yeah.
he's got John Harbaugh was a special teams coach before he became a head coach, and then now Minter has been a defensive coach. So I don't you wonder about the development of Lamar.
Well, they've sort of run the team as if it was as it is a defensive minded. organization, even though they have some incredible weapons on offense.
Yeah,
But it usually seems like when there's money to spend, it ends up being on the defensive side, and that's how it seemed at least for a long time.
yeah. The the offensive coordinator is a very, very young guy. He's 30 years old. Declan Doyle, who is a 30 years old from Iowa City, Iowa. Your
Hmm.
least favorite city in
Unfortunate.
yeah. He played he was a he played at Iowa Western Community College and then was graduate assistant or student offensive assistant in Iowa in 2016. So he started out in Iowa, then he was hired by the Saints as an offensive assistant under Sean Payton, went to the Broncos. Uh, he was the offensive coordinator under Ben Johnson in Chicago last year at the age of
Hmm.
29 because Ben Johnson was the primary play caller in Chicago because he's an offensive minded coach, but Minter hired him as the offensive coordinator,
Hmm.
the Ravens. So he's going to probably call plays with the Ravens, but he's only 30 years old. So we'll see how that goes for him. So he must be some sort of whiz kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Not a, never a college player, never a, you know,
Well, he's only a little bit older than
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, then, right? Because he's
Lamar
pretty close to
Jackson is
30, isn't he? 35?
29. Yeah, Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson's 29. So yeah, a year older than Lamar Jackson.
No.
Declan Doyle. But yeah, Jackson will be the number one quarterback for sure. His sky's the limit for him, really. Just one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And
He's in the next to last year of his contract, where he's pretty expensive this year, but he's excessively expensive next season. So
hmm,
but there's a potential out between this and next year. So
okay, so we'll see how he does.
it's sort of a contract year, but it doesn't have to be. But it's kind of the contract year.
Hmm,
So presumably he's looking for an enormous season.
yeah.
'Cause he's still only 29, so he's definitely looking for another contract here or elsewhere.
Hmm,
Yeah.
yeah, and but his backup is his once and former backup now, former backup, Tyler Huntley is now his backup again in Baltimore. Tyler Huntley, former undrafted quarterback in 2020 out of Utah, 28 years old. He'll be 29 in February, so he just turned 28 in February. Uh, is Tyler Huntley, who has filled in fairly often as a starter in the replacement of the injured Lamar Jackson. I also played in replacement of the injured Tua Tagovailoa in Miami in 2024 when he went to his one season in Miami. He's played for Baltimore for five seasons in his 6 year career, 1 year in Miami. He was 2-0 as a starter last year for Baltimore. Team went 2-0, and then instead he uh, threw for 426 yards with a 103.1 quarterback rating. Of course, Baltimore is primarily a running team with or without Lamar Jackson because they have Derrick Henry. So it's a run first offense. At least it was in the past. We'll see what it becomes this year with a new coaching staff, but likely still a solid running team. But uh,
Yeah.
famously, Lamar Huntley or Tyler Huntley made a Pro Bowl in 2023 after many, many players were either injured or declined their invitations to play that year. But he played 4 games that year in replacement of an injured Lamar Jackson. But yeah,
And then was a Pro Bowler.
yeah,
Doesn't seem like
Pro Bowl,
a
and he
nice.
had a playoff start as well that year
Yeah.
with Lamar Jackson. So he's played in the playoffs. He's replaced Lamar during the regular season as well. He's been solid-ish as a backup, but yeah, he's probably going to be the backup because he's the only quarterback that really has any. experience behind Lamar Jackson. Skylar Thompson's not going to be in the picture because he's on the injury reserve. So we have two developmental quarterbacks, one second year or third year developmental quarterback, that is Austin Reed, undrafted free agent originally on 2024 out of by the Chicago Bears. He was out of football in 2025. He played for the Dallas Renegades in 2026 out of the UFL, which is where he caught the eye of the Baltimore Ravens. And now he is with Baltimore. He has not played a snap in the NFL. He played at Southern Illinois, West Florida, and Western Kentucky in college. So not some good gaudy stats he put up on Western Kentucky and West Florida. 40 touchdown years to 11 interceptions. But no, he did not translate that into draft success. But yeah, he did lead the league, I believe, in passing touchdowns in the UFL in 2026 with Dallas. So that was his claim to fame. So he played pretty well as the quarterback of the Dallas Renegades. So he was given a developmental spot, Austin Reed, for the Ravens. And he's competing probably for that third quarterback position with a rookie undrafted quarterback out of UConn in Maine, and that is Joe Fagnano, Fagnano, pronounced Fagnano in the Italian way, unlike Jack Caglianone, who's not Caglianone for the Royals. He is Fagnano actually has
We're still going to pronounce it that way, though.
real Italian pronunciation from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Undrafted. He his last year at UConn in 2025. He threw for 28 touchdowns, only one interception, leading UConn to a 9-3 record that year. Also named the offensive MVP. That was 2023 of the 2024 Fenway Bowl, but never mind. He was the 2025 UConn started 12 games, 9-3 record, 3,400 plus yards passing, 28 touchdowns, only one interception. He's 6'3". He's a little taller than Tyler, than Austin Reed or Tyler Huntley as the backup. And yeah, he's another developmental guy. Signed a 3-year contract with the Ravens, so maybe he's considered to be the developmental quarterback of the future.
Yeah, it looks like he's been playing in the number 3 spot in the preseason, but
He is 25 already, though, which is,
continuing the trend of the old
yeah.
rookie QBs.
Austin Reed is already 26, so
Yeah.
they aren't young.
Yeah, it looks like in the last game Huntley started, uh, but Fagnano played the majority of the snaps. He was 15 of 20, 123 yards and a touchdown uh, in a 13-3 win over the Vikings. Mike,
Low scoring.
yeah, another under there, but good performance looks like from Fagnano.
Fagnano. Yeah, so we'll see how Fagnano does. I'm sure he's
Yes.
going to be on the practice squad. They'll probably keep Huntley and Jackson on the
Yeah.
regular roster. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's going to poach Fagnano or Reed, so they probably won't put them on the active roster. But yeah, those are the quarterbacks for the Ravens. That concludes our journey through the AFC North and the NFC North. Anything else you want to add before we sign off on this week's episode of the Power Hour?
Well, these are more kind of standard sort of rosters of like an entrenched QB, a pretty solid backup, pretty much all the way around though, right? Like there's nobody that's like you're super worried about if there's an injury where there's like it's like, oh, that's a huge drop off to from one. I mean, there's still a big drop off from 1 to 2, but it's not like it's handing it over to somebody who has no clue what they're doing.
Maybe
I
not.
didn't
Yeah.
get that sense from any of these teams anyway. Is that where you were too in
Yeah,
looking at
I
these?
was. There was a couple. At this point, I'm drawing a blank as to where we are and who we mentioned. It's late. It's late at night. We've been at this for 2+ hours again.
Yes. It's
So
time to wrap this up. But
trying to wrap it up. But I think most of the teams have the quarterback room down fairly well. Although there
yeah,
might be some shopping for a veteran backup in certain areas, or but we'll see what happens. I think yeah, some teams are in very good hands. Some teams are, if their starter goes down, they're kind of screwed. Uh, but that's the case for most teams, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
First,
Yeah.
there's only so many good starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right. Because there's probably really only what 10 maybe QBs that you're really comfortable with and like think they have a chance to win a Super Bowl in any given season.
Yeah, maybe 15. It depends
Yeah.
on if you go down to the Jared Goff, you get Jared Goff, or you have
But some of those you're like saying that they have a chance because the team is good,
or
not because they have.
Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career, somebody like that, or
Yeah. You're
Kyler
not
Murray.
expecting him to like win from day one.
No,
Like you're not really giving him much of a chance to win the Super Bowl this year, are you?
or Kyler Murray, somebody like that too,
Yeah.
kind of
These are
fringe.
like in a scenario where eight of the other top guys are somehow not participating. I
Yeah,
mean, there are a lot of injuries in that over the course of the season.
there are. It's a long season.
Yeah.
It's a physical game, so
There's a chance we're going to see a lot of the guys that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks that we'll see them at play at some point in this season.
yeah. We'll mention a lot of we'll mention there might even be a quarterback we haven't mentioned or won't mention that might get some playing time, depending on how far down the depth chart they go in
Yeah.
certain teams. But we'll try to mention every quarterback that plays in the National Football League this year. That's at least playing on a roster right now. We have one more week with the quarterback primer, and that is going to be with the NFC and AFC Easts. We'll begin with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll end with New England Patriots in some order that way, with the NFC East and then AFC East. So we'll have that to look forward to next week. We'll also talk more about the Royals. Maybe the Royals will have won another 6 games in a row or so by the time we wrap up next week's episode. So the Royals have won 9 out of 10. They've won 9 straight, 10 out of 11 games. Right now, they're back into a 0.1% playoff possibility. So we'll see if they can get that up to a 0.2% by next week. So we'll see what happens with the Royals. We'll have more Royals news. We'll have more Chiefs news. We'll get closer and closer to the regular season. We'll see maybe how Patrick Mahomes is doing. See how the Royals. I mean, see how the Chiefs roster is shaping up. I was thinking of Jalen Royals. That's why I said the Royals for the Chiefs. But I forgot that you have a Royals on the Chiefs.
Royals on the Chiefs, yes.
Yeah. Nobody named Chief though on the Royals.
No, they need to find somebody now. Now that you said that,
Yeah. Salvador Perez, I think, is the closest to being a chief.
yeah,
He's El Capitan.
yes,
But yeah, we'll talk about more Royals news, more Chiefs news, more NFL news, and then more quarterback primer next week. And we might go off some interesting tangents as well, just like we did tonight with the Quad Cities and Quad City Pizza and Altoona Pizza and
why?
are you gonna try any Altoona pizza between now and next week?
That's a hard pass, Mike. No, thank
I
you.
don't think I will either. Even though I'm that far from Altoona, I'm not going to go up there to try their pizza. If I go to Altoona this week, I will try a regular piece of pizza, not an Altoona style slice.
You're gonna go to Altoona specifically, not get Altoona pizza, Altoona
Definitely.
style pizza.
Yeah, if I end up going up there, which I don't
Yeah,
think I will, but you never know. But it's only 70 miles away or something like that from
yeah.
me. So yeah, I was there a couple.
No minor league baseball game to
I
attend this
have
weekend.
yeah, I think well the minor league season I think is over at this
Oh, is
point.
it already?
Well, it's almost September, so maybe
It's
it's
probably wrapping up. Yeah.
close.
If it's not over already, it's very close to over.
See the
Yeah.
Altoona curve. Yeah, I've been to a couple of
Yeah.
games in Altoona.
Yeah.
We have both a mascot that's for the curve, which is a railroad curve, and also the Altoona City mascot known as Al Tuna, a fish mascot. Is my
Yes.
Al Tuna. But anyway, we'll talk more about Altoona maybe next week as well if anything comes up. But otherwise, we should wrap up this week's episode of the Power Hour. As always, I'm Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the One Trick Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and or our podcast available on many different podcast delivery platforms, including the one you're likely using right now. We thank you for either your viewership or your listenership, or however you choose to patronize the Power Hour. As long as it's not in a patronizing manner, we appreciate your patronage. And we'll see you again next week. You can continue if you wish. We wish you continued luck if you're making bets this week on preseason games. Again, we're going blanket under in a lot of these preseason games. So we wish you the best luck, even if you decide those idiots at the Power Hour going blanket under. So we're going to go blanket over on the preseason games. So we don't wish you the best of luck if you're doing that. But if your interest does not conflict with ours, we wish you the best of luck in your preseason bets. If you have to make bets on the third preseason game, which usually is the game that's the hardest to predict, I believe, because the fewest starters end up playing in the last game. It's all trying to determine who the backups are going to be essentially at this point, and maybe play the starters for one drive or something like that. But it's all backups at this point. And we'll see who plays for the Chiefs, and we'll see who the roster shakes out to be over the next couple of weeks. And so we'll have a little bit more NFL preview in 2 weeks as well. So we'll talk about. So we have all that to look forward to the next couple of weeks, and again, the baseball season's winding down, and we are going to be following that as well. So keep tabs on the Warning Track Power. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode. And until that time, we at the Power Hour wish you a good day.